Bergisch Hall town on a river called Kocher, maybe an hour away from my original home, which is in the south of Germany in the state of Baden-Württemberg. The month of June, number 3, a super date, 1950. I think I had a really lovely childhood. I have 2 brothers, senior brothers, and 2 junior brothers, and I'm just in between. My eldest brother is 8 years older than I, my youngest brother 8 years younger. We grew up in a big house with a huge compound around. We were privileged enough to have a housekeeper who was at the side of our mom whilst our dad was busy in the company. He was a partner. Summers were lovely, swimming in the river, playing outside. Winters, every winter we skated or skied. I was able to be sent to a ballet school, and we had a piano at home, so I learned how to play piano. Every year we did a bit of family holidaying within Germany. We went to the Alps or to the seaside. I wouldn't have wanted to be at any other place at that time. So I went to primary school and then to secondary school, and much to the annoyance and frustrations of my parents, I bucked out in lower 6. You know, in Germany we have lower, middle and upper 6, and I wanted to pursue a nursing course to be as soon as possible independent, which I did, and alongside the nursing specialized in pediatrics. I did a training of an export business, and of course in those years it was very important that you knew how to typewrite very fast. And a few years later I had training as a yoga teacher, which I'm still pursuing. There is guacamole, there is homemade cheese, there is homemade marmalade. What do you want? That's okay? No, then let me add a bit. For me, I will eat my yogurt and...
There was a time I was at the place. Then the father called, he said, we just got up. He said, what's the meal we just got up? Who is that fellow? So he wanted to see me. I went to Herzberg. So he saw me the first time. Then she also sent her to Britain to run away from me. When she went to Britain, where the father stayed, she took me there. They accepted me. And where she was also staying, the people saw me. The children too. Then she said, then she has nothing to do again.
My dad had wanted to do a little coup d'etat, so sending me out with the pretext of doing a proficiency course, but at the back of his mind I'm sure he was still thinking that when I'm away for a year, that friendship would not last. During those 12 months, he visited me twice, and we sent letters to and fro across the channel. And sometimes we had a telephone conversation. I work at the University of Göttingen as a nurse, and the university was quite big and with students from around the world, and they had a lovely clubhouse.
I live 30 kilometers from Göttingen. Now I would drive there. And the disc jockey who was there, Kofi Lochu, I knew him very well. And my teacher at elementary school was also a student there.
And there I met my hubby-to-be, making or partying, dancing.
She was also standing there looking. She came with another friend. And some other people I also know from the university.
It was a party actually for all those who studied or worked at the university. Good question. Maybe it was from both sides. But I definitely saw him. He was outstanding. He was tall and very witty, funny, and made some gorgeous moves. And I said, oh, that would be great to dance with him and talk to him.
My teacher went on the floor. Then he was dancing. Then somebody said, hey, this man, he danced like my father. They said, John, you see, your dancing betrayed you.
I think I did like him, although I was a little bit unsure what attraction that was that I liked it. But then after a relatively short time, the liking was really that he was so humorous, he was so knowledgeable, and in those years, 68 and 70, the revolution, freedom, liberation, and he was just a gorgeous guy to hang around with.
Oh, that one, not on the same day. I know where she's, where they stayed. The university in the clinic. But that thing came on later, and we were fooling around. You go to the Heim, they say the place for women alone. But you go there, you see the toilet, you rest after, and say you're not the only one.
No, the boy I was dating at that time, he was from Germany, and though not from the state of Germany where I came from. Yes, everything was just very new. Coming from a different continent, coming from a different culture. I really got very much attracted to that. My parents knew that we were dating, and so one day they said, well, you don't just date, you bring him home. We would like to get to know him. And I'll never forget that. My parents then ran a private home for senior citizens, and we had this old salon with big blue velvet armchairs. And I sat in one. My dad sat opposite me, and in a corner sat my youngest brother. As I mentioned earlier, he's 8 years younger, so my dad, he welcomed Pius into our family. He asked him questions and, sort of said, it's good to know that who my daughter is dating, that they have sort of can relate to that. And then my youngest brother sat there cross-legged in this huge armchair, almost sunk into it, and started laughing. And then my dad said, oh, why are you laughing? And he said, imagine these two people will have kids, they look like zebras.
Zebra, black and white.
As stern as my dad was in that situation, but he really had a big smile on his face, and I did value that a lot, because I knew that little sentence was really melting a little bit of his heart.
But did you feel like you approved?
Not really at that point. I knew that whoever I'm hanging out with is welcome at home, because I had that security from home to not hide away anywhere, but really know that what we want to do, we can feel safe at home, whether they approved of it or not. I would rather say yes. It was quite serious, because in those years it was really not that common that somebody coming from a home where I came from was dating an African or somebody from a complete different culture and continent. We were used, or my parents and friends around us were used to the African or African American soldiers who were then still on their patrols, but not to really for somebody to be serious to date a girl from my status. Who really helped a lot to smoothen things out was my eldest brother. He was fully behind me and that relationship, and he really, wherever he could, talked to my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. My grandmothers were still alive at the time, and so that made it really much easier for me to continue or to be in that relationship. My friends found it fascinating that I went out of the way and did something completely unusual for them.
But they still supported you.
They did, yes. They did support me in many ways. They continued being my friends. They encouraged me and said, well, if you really love that man, then go ahead. Watch your head. Mi casa es su casa. And these are my first things that I do in the morning. Just welcome a new day. He proposed to me after 2 years of courtship. And then one day he just came and he said, we could get married. It would be great to get married to you.
And you said?
And I said, yes, I will. I really wanted to legalize our friendship. There were quite a number of things that went through my mind, because I knew he did not make it a secret. I knew that after his second degree he would like to come home to his country and serve his country with or without me. So I knew I would have to prepare for a complete new life. Out of my comfort zone, out of my family, out of my friends. It was Pius' eldest brother on one of his travels to Germany, and also on his return to Ghana. He had to do certain legal aspects, like getting an affidavit that Pius was not married before. For us to legalize the marriage in Germany, we needed to have that. So Consta, informed. And then we got the go-ahead from the law court that Pius is really clear to get married, as he was not married before. And then we started planning towards that marriage. Well, it was choosing our rings, choosing our outfits, choosing the flowers that I would like to hold, then also choosing if we had wanted to marry in church, from by whom we would like to be married. We chose a pastor whom we thought would really wed us the way we had wanted to be married. The jeweler who advised or sold us our rings, he was quite excited to show us his collection and what would be appropriate. And then we went to Stuttgart. That's the capital of the state of Baden-Württemberg, to choose our wedding outfit. And it was also very open-minded people. From that side, nothing really came to, no ridiculous questions. So the day before the wedding, Pius and I had to go to the register, and we took Pius' youngest sister and my eldest brother. They were sort of witnesses. And I wore a purple, yellow, white Ghanaian kaba and slit, and had a yellow rose bouquet. I did enjoy that. I really did enjoy that African touch of it. It was brought from Ghana to Germany for that occasion, which I valued really very much, that I could have my registration in an African or in a Ghanaian outfit.
Did people stare at you?
Yes, definitely they did.
Did you get any comments?
Yes, I got a lot of comments, and I think overall I think I shocked everybody, so they were just sort of like, sort of really, there was nothing negative around it. In itself, I wore a sunflower yellow long neck holder dress with a bare back, and the front was in folds, matching yellow sweet leather plateau shoes, and I had salmon-colored roses in my afro hair. And again, everybody was just sort of like, I know, and I did enjoy that. My flowers are the energy in the morning. I love talking to them, I love picking all these old. After being married, I felt good. It was a very reassuring, almost on a daily basis, that I chose the right person to be with. One of the things we were always asked by Pius' family whenever they had the chance, and when are we having the first baby? And that actually started even before we got married, because, well, once you dated and once you were more or less like engaged, it was meant that you start a family. We had Lolonyo 5 years after we got married. So that was in 78. And by that time we knew already that in a year's time we would be moving back to Ghana.
So you had Lolonyo in Germany?
We had Lolonyo in Germany, and all the other 2 kids also in Germany, in the hospital where I worked. Yes, I was. I had visited Ghana prior to our departure twice, and I knew I would manage whatever would come up in Ghana. However, I didn't maybe not envisage that we would come short after the first coup, which made the situation quite tough. I was actually surprised to find Ghana as I found it. I had loads of information before, whilst I was studying in England. Ghana, about customs, about food, about different things. So I felt quite confident to to come and and settle in a different environment, in a different culture.
What I liked about Heidi was I find a lot of women married to foreigners usually like to stick in that circle. They only make friends with other women married to. But Heidi is not threatened, and that's one thing I like about her. She's not threatened in any kind of situation. And I admired the way she was interested in making friends with somebody like me, not married to a foreigner, and not even married at all. And she did not mind, and the way she related with me, I really appreciated, and I loved her for that.
Everything 1 or 2 levels higher. The furniture was actually the furniture from my grandparents, which was still in Germany. And when the second flood hit, I had the opportunity with somebody to send it with a container. So they are from 1912 maybe. You can see this was the original weaving, very delicately, and unfortunately they cannot do it here, so they did this. And yes, then I love my Kente and the brass stuff. It was good that we really planned that relocating to Ghana, because we had a container and really packed everything. We had our furniture, our pots and pans, towels and beddings and cloth tableware. We brought actually everything along. The 16th of November 1979. I was not scared. I was rather curious how Ghana would be after a coup, because when I was here in 74 and in 77, well, there was no coup. The family was, or everybody around us was sort of like quite well off. And then all of a sudden you plunge into this situation where you have curfew, where you have to queue for basic commodities, sometimes days without end. Me queuing in front of Laboni GNTC, or sometimes going into town with Lolonyo on my back because there was no petrol, or our cars were at the filling station waiting for coupons. And I went to Germany actually on a regular basis every year. And my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, she was the one who really encouraged me and said, "Look, girl, I have survived 2 world wars. You will survive Ghana." Lonely, I never felt, because I really felt quite good in the arms of Pius' family. I made friends here, also foreign women married to Ghanaians. We met briefly the first time, I don't know how many years back that was, at a funeral of mutual friends. And somehow, there was a vibe straight away.
And we said a special hello to each other.
Yes. It was, I loved how she had her hair cut short, how she was moving about, and I said, "Oh, that's lovely, where everybody's wearing wigs. This lady, she's just having her natural hair, that beautiful smile," and being friends of the ones whom we mourned with, said, "Oh, that must be good company." And yes, so it was never really that I was lonely. But it could also be, as I had the chance to go to Germany once a year with the children, sometimes with Pius, made it quite okay to feel good and make Ghana my home. No, I always felt welcome, whether it was in the markets. I went on a regular basis to Makola market. I never had the feeling of being looked at weirdly or spoken to inappropriately, which unfortunately has changed a lot. In the last 5 years, I have encountered quite a bit of racism here, whether it's driving and I know I do the right thing and somebody is just crossing me over and then hooting at me or shouting out of his window, "Go back to where you come from if you don't like that," or even words, excuse my French, "fuck you," which I had never ever in all these many years before ever encountered here. And that really sometimes makes it quite a bit of uncomfortable here, where I think, am I really so welcome? Are Ghanaians really so hospitable as we all say? Don't like people who are brown from inside. Still not. They rather put me off with their right-wing activities. But the brown from outside, yes.